that's true. Like, why I think that that's true, this is me speculating, but I think it's pretty accurate, where the larger campaigns, that they recognize how much their transparency is going to have an impact on the trust that they're building with their relationships, and that they're investing into that trust and ensuring that people understand where they are in the process. And so that encourages people, then people are like, oh yeah, I totally want to, I trust you with my money.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, I mean, I think that, it also is a sign of having their act together. I mean, I think your guys' points about the professionalism, taking the Misfit campaign, as an example. I remember for me, it was 6 weeks of full-time work, literally full-time flat out before, a month of full-time work during, and I think a lot of people just assume they're putting a site up, and it's not that. It is, I mean, it is crazy.
What's the work?
What is the work?
Yeah.
The work is, it's a great question. The work is getting the story right, figuring out what your limits are, like what are you willing to commit to and what are you not, because once you start to tell the story, it's hard. Developing a community of supporters. You launch on day one without a group of people who are already passionate about your product, you've missed a trick. And then the materials that do all that. So the video, incredibly important. First 10 seconds, probably the most important 10 seconds of anything that your company or product or startup will produce, in its life. And then during the campaign, it's just the wild ride of the unexpected. It is, oh my God, we didn't realize person X who committed to do something was going to pull out. Or we have 10 times as many people. Or, oh, no, we didn't build a website for our company. No, we're not a scam. It's all that kind of crazy stuff that you could never really have anticipated. So I think we have time for one more question. Yeah?
Yeah, hi, I'm Jordan Bronstein. I do data privacy consulting. To use the Oculus acquisition as an illustration, because when you said it, that was when I heard about it. I wasn't paying attention to the news today. I was an initial Kickstarter contributor. I got a dev kit from them when they did their first campaign. And just a point of clarification, does everything Indiegogo does in Kickstarter and pretty much across the board, is it all project and goal based, right? It's not about funding companies per se, correct?
So for Indiegogo, it is campaign based, and so typically, you can fund a company. So for example, I don't know if I have a small business called Canvan, and how I got started with Indiegogo in the first place is that it was an Indiegogo campaign. And then, it's a global beer canning service. We roll around the Bay Area and beer for people. Let me know if you're interested. And so you can do a company, but you can
There
also...
is a parking lot right over here.
Let's work something out.
To be continued.
And but it is goal-based, so it's time-bound, as well as you put up what you want to raise, and then you can always meet or exceed it, but at the end of the day, yes.
So the point behind my question is there's no equity involved, people contributing, of course. So my real question is, with the passage of the Jobs Act, I forget when, I think last year or something like that, as far as I can remember, I think there was some relaxation of regulations that said the crowdfunding model could be kind of transmogrified into the investment world. And I know of a couple of startups that are trying to do that or have tried to do that and haven't quite succeeded yet because there are still a lot of burdensome and unknown issues around that. But it would have been nice if, since Oculus got acquired for $2 billion, I could have gotten a nice little chunk of that.
I would love to pick the winning lottery ticket last week, too.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, to take that case in point, I think it would create an enormous amount of interest, an enormous amount of activity in crowdfunding if there was a chance for people to use it as an investment vehicle. What do you guys have to say about that?
The Jobs Act, which it's in the process of being through the SEC, it's like whatever this means, being moved through the SEC. And so for us, we were there at the passage of the Jobs Act. We're the only crowdfunding platform to be there, and we've spoken many times at the White House since, and Slava has been there many times. Is he here?
He's here.
Okay. So he's been there many times since, and it's just a matter of figuring out what it is actually going to be when it is enacted, and so we're all waiting to hear.
Yeah, I guess, just one other view on that as an investor is, I think that crowdfunding equity for companies is a potentially enormously powerful tool, and one that we should take really seriously and try to make the most of. But there's something magical about the relationship with a product or a company that is not about, like, I can make money on this. It's about, I love this thing and I just want it to exist. And if I don't participate, it might not exist. And to me, that's really part of the magic of the whole crowdfunding thing, and why some of the kind of crowdfunding as pre-order makes me a little bit sad because it robs the process of some of that magic. And so I think we should just recognize it for what it is. It creates an authentic connection. And yeah, you know, when Oculus 2 comes, the next company, you're welcome to crowdfund and get your slice of equity in it. And I wish you luck. And now, drinks for everybody, and you're welcome to stay. And thank you to our panelists.